This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. Then the show is repeated in its entirety from 2 a.m. until 6 a.m. And now on the Talkstar Radio, 3 times within a 24-hour period from 6 p.m. until 10 p.m., Monday through Friday. And boy, are we ever excited about that. And of course, on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. If you'd like to give us a call, toll free, 1-800-610-7035. That is worldwide toll free at 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Today is Wednesday, March the 31st in the year 2010, and I'd just like to say a little something to the many listeners that we have in Russia. Our thoughts and our prayers are with you. 2 days of terrorist attacks in Russia, claiming more than, 47 lives, Cliff? Yeah. Here you've got Russia now being attacked by terrorists. They've made the association to the terrorist groups that are operating out of, the usual places, Afghanistan, Iran, and the other countries who have nothing better to do than to upset people and kill people for their useless, worthless cause. There, I said it, and I feel better for saying it. So our thoughts and our prayers are with our Russian members of the X-Zone Nation, as well as the many other wonderful people who live in Russia. My guest this hour is Elizabeth Joyce, and usually I bring Elizabeth on and we start talking psychic stuff right away, but I'm going to do a little bit of a twist right now. Elizabeth's brand new book, Ascension, Assessing the Fifth Dimension, The Truth About 2012, has been published. Elizabeth was kind enough to send me an autographed copy. And I must tell you, X-Zone Nation, that this book will answer a lot of questions. It will open your eyes to a new dimension. It talks about Atlantis. It talks about, what you and I talk about here on a daily basis. Elizabeth Joyce, first of all, congratulations on a wonderful book, and welcome back to the X-Zone.
Thank you so much, Rob. That means a lot to me. This book was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It really was an incredible experience writing it because I kept getting taken out of my body and shown different levels of the dimensions, and I tried to write it down so that people would really understand it. In a very plain language, simple, nothing tricky, nothing scientific.
I had Phil Imbrogno on last night, and he is a scientist. And he is saying now that science is being able to prove with quantum physics and the string theory that there are actually 11 dimensions.
There's 12. Yes, there are 11.
Yeah.
Yes, we've proven that there are 11. I acknowledged that. I did get that from the scientist website as I wrote the book, but I was taken to the 12th, which is so high, but according to what I saw, it is the dwelling place of the masters, of the great masters that come down through the dimensions to the earth when needed.
All right, let's talk about that when we come back on the other side of this commercial break. Elizabeth Joyce is our special guest, www.new-visions.com. And if you'd like to give her a call and get a private one-on-one reading, 201-934 201-934-8986. That's 201-934-8986. And the name of her new book is Ascension, Assessing the Fifth Dimension, The Truth About 2012, and we'll tell you where you can get a copy on the other side of this break as the X-Zone starts for today, Wednesday, March the 31st in the year 2010, from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away, we'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience journey trance, power animals, helping spirits, sacred space, and life purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Welcome back, everyone. Elizabeth Joyce is my special guest of this hour, and we're talking about her new book that is brand new, spanking off the presses. Is entitled Ascension, Assessing the Fifth Dimension, The Truth About 2012. And, the fifth dimension energies bring together science, spirituality, religion, and history to form a single focus of greater wisdom. When we merge these modalities, miracles happen. The sense and the awe of our great universe never cease to amaze and humble us, especially those involved with energetic healing. We are on the brink of a great discovery, as well as seeing the impossible become possible. We are infants with all of this new powerful energy. The planet is continuing its process of turning inside out as it strives to align with the higher vibration within a new vision of reality. We have little time to prepare ourselves for the coming energy changes, which have already begun. Many of us are downloading fourth and fifth dimension energies on a daily basis. After a while, we will regain our bearings and are then able to progress in a very new way with self-assurance, a divine connection, and a new ease and comfort. That is what is occurring prior to 2012. The ascension process involves dying within while we are alive. And that's just a bit of the information that Elizabeth has on her brand new book, Ascension, Assessing the Fifth Dimension, The Truth About 2012. Elizabeth, welcome back, and once again, congratulations on your book.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So it's an exciting time, and a lot of things are changing, and of course, people hate change, and they're resistant to it, and they can get stubborn and set in their ways instead of accepting it. And Rob, I want to mention that one of the changes in my book is the chakra system. I've had some criticism, a little bit of criticism about what I wrote, that says that the third chakra is green and the heart chakra is yellow. And they're telling me that that's incorrect information when it is truthfully not. I studied with some very high Tibetan people, as well as people in India, that know that the healing color is green, and that is in the solar plexus. And the solar plexus is a very large chakra, and it does overlap the heart chakra, which is that golden yellow light of the divine, the pure yellow light. And so I have reversed it for that reason, and I was assured that just because the rainbow goes in a certain direction doesn't mean that the chakras necessarily do. But when you get something like that and you offer it to the people, then they complain and they make you inaccurate, and so it puzzles me.
You wrote a chapter 3 is entitled The Fifth Dimension, The Mystical World. Can you give us a little look into that world?
The mystical world is the world of really that we don't understand, and it's a higher dimension, and it's spontaneous. It's spontaneous to thought. So it's going to help us be able to manifest our desires. If the body is able to get itself into a fifth dimension vibration, it will automatically heal because it has to be in a state of perfection in order to dwell there. So even if you can get your vibration up to that level for 5 or 10 minutes, then miracles are going to happen. Not only that, but you know the string theory, Rob, that we talk about?
Yeah.
Well, the string theory takes the vibrational energies that you have, and it goes down into all of your family, all the people that's on your mind, all of the people that's in your subconscious that you're worried about, that you might be praying for, that you're hoping good things for, and it helps them too, all at the same time. I'm doing workshops on this. We have another workshop April 23rd, and Bonnie McDade and I are doing these workshops together, and we call it vibrational healing, where when you come to the workshop for 3 days and work on yourself, not only do wonders happen to yourself, but when you go out of that door, you have a different life.
All right, tell me about some of the wonders that you've seen with this vibrational healing.
I can tell you a couple of them. I had one girl, one of our group was sick last time we met, and she had back. And so I began to send her the 7 seals. The 7 seals are at the end of the chakra chapter, and the whole group did the 7 seals one at a time. and you go up with the 7 seals. So we started with the root chakra, went up to the crown, and then we sent her a blanket. I had it in my vision, a blanket of the spine, which was a purple silver color. And we sent that to her too. Well, she knew that we were doing it. She got it at 9:15, and she said that a very deep, deep pain within her was removed. So that was incredible.
What other stories do you have?
Well, there was one girl. I've been working in these energies for a long time before I wrote the book, and there was one girl that came that was going to have cancer surgery the next day. So we did the surgery in her mind that night. I put her on the body table, and I said, let's do the surgery. And we brought in light, and we brought in all the doctors and hospital equipment, and we cleaned out her abdomen because it was a hysterectomy, and we cleaned it all out and plated it with light and prayed that there'd be no cancer and whatever. And the next day, the doctor did the surgery, and when she went back for her examination, the doctor said it was an amazing day, that he had done 6 cancer surgeries, and that every single one of those people healed, did not need follow-up chemotherapy, and were well. And he said that his hands vibrated and had tingles through them the entire day. The doctor said that to her.
Now, when you said you put her on the body table, you're doing this metaphysically. You're not actually getting her to go on the table.
I'm putting her on a body table, and I am imagining, that's metaphysically, imagining the surgery and working. I work in her aura levels, which is above the body. I work on her aura levels, and all I did was like clean out what I felt was there, some black stuff. I said, make it into a black ball of obsidian and lift it out of your body. Now, the body workers listening are going to know what I'm talking about. And there's a wonderful book that you can see how this is done. It's called Hands of Light, and it's by Barbara Brennan. And she explains all of this work in detail with photographs. So that does help. But anyway, I cleared her out, and it was a miracle. That was a miracle.
It truly was. Now, you say that you've traveled in the 5th dimension. What's travel like there, and how do you travel?
You travel with your etheric body, which is your blessed higher self body. It's an invisible body. It's what leaves us when we die. Shirley MacLaine, in her book, Out on the Limb, wrote about the silver cord and about body travel. And she was one of the first ones to explain it well. Although I'll go back to Sybil Leek and back to some of our, Jeannie Dixon and all of the good ones that were years ago, and they talked about it too. It's soul travel. If you've had a dream, Rob, and you felt that you were in a different place and that dream seemed so real. Let's say you have a dream tonight about London and you're walking the streets and maybe you're talking to people and you may know there's a light rain there, and you go into a restaurant that you see in your dream, and later on you check it out on the internet, you find out that there is such a restaurant. You can bet that you were body traveling. You were traveling out of your body.
Now, can we go forward and backward in time in this state?
Yes, we can. You can go back to your past lives, and you can go forward into future lives. Some people have written about parallel lives, if you choose to believe that. My sense is that there's a possibility of living 12 lifetimes at the same time, but the important one is where you are. We are on Earth. We are in our body now. We have to deal with our family, with our obligations, with our desires, and with our ascension. So I don't like to, have people say, well, I'm going to go into my other life. No, that's not what this is about. It's about this part of your soul working on where you are. I'm very practical.
Yes.
But I do believe that people are going to start remembering some of their past lives through knowledge, through saying, now, how did I know that? How can I go and fix a car engine when I don't know anything about cars? Or how can I go and dance a minuet when I don't know anything about dancing? We're going to find that we're going to be doing things that our creativity is going to begin to change, and it's going to broaden and widen. And we're going to be using more of our creativity that's been blocked off. I think that's terrific.
Also in your book, you talk about returning to Atlantis.
I think that the dynamics, the national political dynamics, are going to return to the state that it was in Atlantis. I think that we're going to have some not nice things going on. I think that we're going to realize some new energy through science, through healing, through medicine, and we're either going to use it well or we're going to abuse it. In Atlantis, they abused it, which is why Atlantis fell. But hopefully this time, as we make new discoveries, perhaps new planets, new galaxies where we know there's life in galaxies, and we're only a city.
Yeah.
Spirit said that this galaxy is the city of a lot of galaxies throughout this endless universe. If that's true, then we know that there's life on other planets. Doesn't mean we can prove it, but it only makes common sense. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting if we could out-of-body travel to another planet and have an experience with people and then come back and talk about it and write it down for history. But in Atlantis, they did wonderful things. They did instant healing. They were always in a state of perfection. They were a lot taller than the other people. I described that in the book. And they were the healers. They were the other people or other tribes, however you want to call it, came to the Atlanteans when they were sick and when they needed healing.
You and I have to take our commercial break with the news at the bottom of the hour. Elizabeth, where can people get copies of your book?
Well, there's two places. One, of course, is Amazon.com, and all you have to do is type in Elizabeth Joyce, and both of my books will come up, the one I did on psychic attack and the Ascension book. Or you can go right to my website, which is www.new-visions.com, and you can purchase it on my website.
Elizabeth Joyce and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break talking about psychic predictions as the X Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, for more information on Elizabeth, if you'd like to buy a copy of her book, Ascension, Assessing the Fifth Dimension, The Truth About 2012, it's available at Amazon.com and her website, www.
It was a terrifying experience.
I thought we was going to go to jail for murder.
That day, we were a little behind, so we worked until it was starting to get dark.
We loaded up the equipment and hadn't driven very far when we caught glimmers of this glow coming through the trees. I urged Mike to hurry up and get up there.
Travis had the door open before we even stopped. As he got closer, I heard the sound.
One of the guys said, "You feel that?"
I really panicked then.
I told him, "Get the hell out of here."
It didn't come directly to me, it came to a deputy sheriff.
Three of us volunteered right away to tell him what had happened.
Sheriff Gillespie definitely didn't believe it.
He says that we better be certain because we can get in a lot of trouble.
When we went to search the next day, they split us up, and the whole time the deputies asked me, if you just tell us where the body is, we can all go home and get this over with.
We're talking about 100 people. Combing through the wooded area, nothing turns up.
All week long, I've been hearing they're going to set it up to make you guys look guilty.
We're a rough-looking bunch then. Some of us have been in trouble with the law before.
And y'all ain't never going to come out of that jailhouse.
We couldn't get out.
I tried to sneak out the back door the day of the polygraph test. I was scared to death.
And on top of that, you have media.
I literally would be on two telephones at the same time.
We've even got some coops in here now that's coming in and out to see the freak show, as they call it.
Everyone descends.
I just wasn't going to stand there and listen to it anymore.
Granny says, "This is Travis. I'm back. I need help."
When I did hear that he had been returned, it was almost as unbelievable as the original thing.
I just looked at my mom and says, "I told you we didn't kill him."
Travis Walton reappeared after several days with a bizarre story about a ride in an unidentified flying object.
People were desperate to explain it away.
Why are you sticking up for Travis for all this time? You know this really didn't happen.
What happened to Travis after we took off in that truck, I can't tell you.
I hated Travis for a long time after this. My whole world just tore up.
But I believe every word Travis said about it. He's never lied to me about nothing.
It's a net negative. We lost our jobs in the immediate aftermath.
And now you're not able to talk about it with anyone because you know that they're going to laugh at you, they're going to look at you like you're crazy.
But if you don't come out and tell your story, somebody else is going to tell it for you.
There's a degree of responsibility. Certainly I have to accept the bad. If I can direct what's happened in a way that I can make something good happen in the world, I'm looking for it.
Order your copy of Travis, The True Story of Travis Walton, today at www.traviswaltonthemovie.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics. From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Elizabeth Joyce is our special guest, www.new-visions.com. And if you'd like to contact Elizabeth for a one-on-one consultation, 201-934-8986. That's 201-934-8986. Once again, Elizabeth, congratulations on your book, Ascension, Assessing the Fifth Dimension, The Truth About 2012. And you had sent me a list of predictions to X-Zone at xzoneradiotv.com, and I was wondering if you'd like to go through with them.
Sure. I sent them to you over the month of March as they come in, of course. The biggest one for me is the Laura Bush and Georgie Bush divorce, because I've been saying that for years, and I did know that the last 2 years of his presidency, they were living apart.
Wow.
Although it was kept, of course, very quiet. But she's leaving him.
Well, isn't she quite sick right now?
No, that's Barbara Bush.
Oh, I see.
Barbara Bush was just released from the hospital. But Laura Bush is the one that I was speaking about.
All right, that's the younger George Bush's wife, right?
Yes. Yeah. I call him Georgie Porgy's wife.
Now, you also made a prediction about militant unrest around the world a couple of months ago.
I did. I said that was going to become prevalent and that there would be many suicide bombers. I said Russia, I said Paris, and I said England. Those three places.
And you also predicted many times you foresaw problems with President Obama.
Yes. As a matter of fact, on your show in October, I said that the health care plan would not be voted on until the end of March, and then it would go through, but it would go through with difficulty. I said that on your show. I also am feeling that we're going to have another tsunami, and this is making me uncomfortable. This is maybe coming up for April, but I feel it's going to be the same place where it was before, southern India and Indonesia. Going to go back.
Which would mean, in essence, there would have to be something on one of the Pacific tectonic plates in order that would have to happen in order for a tsunami to happen in that area again.
Well, there's things happening in Antarctica with the icebergs, and I think as the icebergs move and break away, that this causes the flood levels to change. Also, the East Coast is having serious flooding, and remember I had said the ocean was going to come in 5 miles? So there's serious flooding in Rhode Island and Massachusetts and all along the shoreline, and those fabulous hotels in Miami are going to be gone. It's going to be washed away.
Well, I don't think it's the ocean level that is rising in Connecticut. It's basically the heavy rainfalls that they're having.
Right. We've had the heavy rainfalls, but the next thing that we're going to have is the ocean coming in.
Because
very strange activity because the plates are moving. And you had mentioned the Pacific plates, and I'm now seeing both the Pacific and the Atlantic plates move.
Because don't forget, if the Atlantic goes up 5 feet or in 5 miles, so does the Pacific.
Later.
One cannot,
not at the same time.
Well, it's impossible for one to go before the other.
Well, from what I understand, it's not.
Well, how would it? All right, now hold on here. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the map, the globe.
Okay.
All right. Mm-hmm. In order for one to go in 5 miles and the other not, there would have to be a definite division between the oceans, but they're all connected. So if one goes up, they all go up.
From what I'm seeing, it's coming into the East Coast, all the way down to New Orleans, and the separation is South America and Central America. I'm not seeing it over on that side, over in Mexico and in that area as much as I'm seeing from New Orleans up to Maine. I don't know why. I do know that there are two plates, and what I had thought was that it would be the Atlantic plate that would shift. You know, with the Haiti earthquake, which I also predicted, we had 0.5 millimeter of change in our axis. And we all know that the Earth axis is going to change and shift. We've been talking about it for years. Yeah, but the scientists it actually did.
Yeah, the scientists said, this is very minute.
But they said that even 1/3 of an inch is dangerous for the stability of the planet.
Well, I think that the scientists are blowing smoke up everybody's yin-yang.
I hope so. I think what we need to do is to start sending prayers and hoping that it doesn't shift enough to be that threatening to everybody.
I think there are more people out there today sending up false signals and that are deliberately giving out misinformation in order to make themselves look better than there are actually people who know what the hell they're talking about.
Well, it's a conversation, and they get to be the center of attention. So then and if they don't know what to talk about, they actually don't care. They just want the center of attention, right?
So why don't these people just go on to things that they know what to talk about?
Because they may not know of anything to talk about. That's funny. But I do feel that we're going to have some weather changes, and we're supposed to go from a spring into a very hot, hot summer. And that's interesting because yesterday, driving home from my sister's house, I drove through a snowstorm, and tomorrow it's supposed to be 80 degrees.
A snowstorm? Where's your sister? Where does your sister live?
She lives on the other side of the Poconos, and I had to drive through the Poconos, and I drove through a snowstorm.
Well, right now outside our studios here in Hamilton, Ontario, it is 63 degrees, and we're looking at a high of 79 tomorrow.
Right. But what was it yesterday and the day before, 40 to 30?
No, we were in the high 40s. 40,
okay.
50s, yeah.
So it's coming very fast is what I'm saying. And this weekend being Easter weekend and having it so warm, I think that feels more like the 1st of May than the 1st of April. We don't usually have 80 degrees in April in New York.
Well, I can remember times when I was a kid having very warm weather in Easter time during the Easter holidays. Okay. So maybe it's not as rare as we like to remember.
Well,
Elizabeth Joyce is our guest. Her website is www.new-visions.com. And if you'd like to contact her for a one-on-one consultation, her telephone number is 201-934-8986. Tell me, Elizabeth, are people still concerned about the events of 2012, or are they finally learning that it ain't going to happen? It's not going to be the end of the world. There's going to be no panic. The only panic is going to be caused by these morons who get on the radio and the internet who talk about doom and gloom all the time.
Well, they do have something called the Prophets Circle, and they have people talking about the shift and what may happen and what may not happen. And the people go and listen because they like that kind of thing or that kind of excitement. But, in my book, I say, where are you going to be on December 21st, 2012? And my answer is right where you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
But I do think, Rob, that we are going to have some chaos on this planet before 2012. And I think a lot of it will be political, and I do see some Earth changes. But maybe these Earth changes aren't any different from Earth changes. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, the Earth has been changing since day one.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, and, once again, the internet being the biggest septic tank that man has ever created is dispelling more disinformation than the UFO community could ever imagine that, that the U.S. government could ever do when it comes to an alleged UFO cover-up, which I don't believe in one bit. I think the UFO community, as I said in my latest article, they need a reality check.
Well, the saddest thing about it is that if there really was a UFO that was going to land on this planet, don't you think that people would see it instead of, I think I saw light? Why can't they say, I saw a ship, I have a picture of it, this is what the people are like, and I talked with them and met with them? Why is it impossible to do that?
Well,
it has been because it hasn't happened, but I'm just saying that some people are saying, well, I saw it and it looks like a cone, or I saw it and it looks like a saucer, but there's no proof. I'm not saying that the people haven't seen things, but you wonder if they're landed, and you hear about the Greys and all these people walking around. If they have landed and if they're here, it should be able to be documented, not necessarily by the government, by maybe some of the rural people that are seeing it.
I had Daryl Sims on the show last night, and he was trying to tell me, or he told me, and I did not believe him. I gave it no credibility whatsoever. That there is a UFO circling this planet that is 50 miles high and 600 miles long. Now,
well, we'd see it, wouldn't
exactly. The astronomical societies and the amateur astronomers would blow the whistle off this so fast that it would be impossible to conceal.
We have the best telescopes. The Hubble and all these wonderful telescopes, they would catch it right away. If we can find out that there's water on Mars and that there's an atmosphere or whatever it is on Venus, we certainly would see a UFO.
Actually, when it came to an object being too close to the Hubble, no, you wouldn't.
Oh, too close?
Too close.
Like 16,000 miles or something?
You know what? I don't know what the exact optical range is, but I have been told by astronomers that even if a UFO was to cross the path of the Hubble, that it would go undetected because of its proximity to the lens, whatever the hell that
my
means.
question is to Daryl, if this ship is going around the Earth, is it going around the Earth and the Moon, or just the Earth?
Just in Earth orbit.
But if it's only in Earth orbit and it's not going in, it's going in front of the Moon would be blacked out.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily, because we're talking about an object that is 600 miles long and 50 miles high. And depending on how close it was to the Earth, I'm not doubting. I'm saying I agree with you that there's a lot that doesn't make sense here. But for somebody to actually believe that there's a UFO that is 50 miles high, 600 miles long, and he said these are the small ones. There are others that are thousands of miles long. And I'm saying, geez, what is going on with the UFO community? They're going nuts.
It's a new trailer, and they want to go up that ladder and ascend. They have something called ASHTAR, and of course I wrote an article about the ASHTAR command years ago, and I debunked it. But they have this guy ASHTAR who's supposed to be head of the mothership, and they're going to be sending ships down to take the people off the planet to save them when this planet goes into chaos for 2012. That's the belief system. And if you read my article on the ASHTAR command, I document where people have said this and have sold all of their belongings and gone and sat on mountains and waited for the ship to come, and it never comes.
Does the word...
So where are they? They're there with their money and no possessions and nothing.
Does the word cult sound familiar here?
Well, it's I don't know if it's a cult, but I know it's a belief system. A cult to me is a living organization that live together in a community and whatever. But this certainly has been a worldwide belief. In fact, in Denmark, I think it was in 1955, they had a terrible epidemic of the ASHTAR command, and people were just, I want to say, going crazy because they were selling all their possessions and gathering to wait, and nothing happened. I think that's evil. I'm sorry, I happen to think that that's evil to have people do that.
Well, it's no different than different in 2012 when Art Bell caused a bit, not 2012, but in the year 2000 with Y2K, and how he was, like they were getting all these sponsors coming on that were basically predicting the end of the world. Look what happened with Heaven's Gate because of the so-called UFO that was in the following Hale-Bopp.
Well,
people are gullible.
Y2K was supposed to be a technological breakdown that we did not have.
Yeah, well, we all knew it wasn't going to happen. Well, the people who had any brains in their head knew it wasn't going to happen, but so many morons out there believed it.
I remember thinking that it was possible, but of course it didn't happen. We had a wonderful time in 2001, 2000 when Clinton was president, and we, for the first time on television, saw New Year's all around the world. I loved that. I wish they could do it again.
Yeah, that was
beautiful.
Great. That was great. No, I think that the people who are causing all the negativity in the world, who are getting on their little soapboxes and just stirring the pot with nothing else but a lucid thought in their head, because brains certainly don't figure into this equation when it comes to these morons, they should be held accountable.
Absolutely. But I believe in accountability. I really do. However, you can't disprove it. If you can't prove it, then you can't disprove it.
Well, sure you can, because if Y2K didn't happen, then we proved them wrong and they should be held responsible. And because there was no UFO behind Hale-Bopp, those people should be held responsible. And for all the morons that are listening who are, getting out there and saying all the negative things about 2012, I believe each and every one of you will be held accountable on December the 22nd, 2012. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with Elizabeth Joyce as the X-Zone continues from our studios in beautiful...
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
Coming soon to the X-Zone Broadcast Network is A Different Perspective with me, Kevin Randall, as your host. We'll be taking a close look at what is happening in the world of UFOs today with side trips into the paranormal. Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a different perspective on a variety of topics. No topic will be taboo, but there will be tough questions asked as we all search for the truth about UFOs, the paranormal, and those things that excite us. Sometimes we'll agree with a guest and sometimes we won't, but we'll try to keep the program topical. For those of you who like to read, be sure to visit www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com and remember to listen to the other fine programs on the X-Zone Broadcast Network at www.xzbn.net. This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now in Roswell in the 21st century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
What Happened in Benghazi is revealed by Nicholas Genix, author of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. He informs the American people that President Obama deceived them by advocating a strong foreign policy prior to the 2012 presidential election, and Hillary Clinton supported this deception. As the title infers, there is a connection between Obama, Islam, and Benghazi. Ample evidence informs Americans that Obama's early indoctrination in the Quran developed an affinity for Islam, why the Quran is the source of discontent in many countries, and why the Obama foreign policy deception led to poor military action and caused the loss of American lives in Benghazi. Genix provides 36 questions for the Select Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are justified to mistrust President Obama and Hillary Clinton. An overview of Obama, Islam, and Benghazi is presented on the website www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold. Elizabeth Joyce is my guest this hour. www.new-visions.com. That's www.new-visions.com. And if you'd like to contact Elizabeth for a one-on-one consultation, area code 201-934-8986. That's area code 201-934-8986. Elizabeth, you and I were talking during the commercial break, and there seems to be a question that you keep on getting asked by people who are either buying your book or who are bought your book, which is entitled Ascension, Assessing the Fifth Dimension. And what is that question?
From your perspective, what is the greatest threat or greatest threats to the ascension of the Earth's light beings?
Good question. And what's your answer?
The answer is that it's called commitment. There's not 100% commitment to it, not even 50%. There is new information coming into the planet, and people are seeing if it works. They're testing it. I feel that they're not committed. There are some of these healers and some psychics, as you know, who are doing lower-level psychism, and that comes out from their own unhealed process. If they're saying, "Oh, you're going to die, or you're going to have a calamity happen to you, or you have a cloud over your head,"
those are the people who should be thrown in.
They're certainly not advanced people.
Those are the people who should be arrested, thrown in jail, and the key thrown away.
Right, but what others are saying, how can they feel unthreatened? It's healing yourself, letting these new energies, which is a feeling of floating and a feeling of kindness and love, and there's no anger with this dimension. There's no ugliness. It's just honoring everybody, feeling loved, and doing the best you can to make another person's life better. Therefore, you become a support system. And I've often said, Rob, that down the road, the doctors in hospitals are going to need alternative people to help them, and they'll have their own offices right with the doctors to help people psychologically perhaps go through a difficult healing process.
Well, you know what? This is where I disagree with you wholeheartedly. A New Age practitioner has no place in the hospital. They're not trained,
I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
Well, just let me finish. And people who think a little bit of knowledge is very dangerous. And from what I've seen, a lot of these healers and people who claim to be spiritual healers and spiritual guides and the rest of the bull crap don't know what the hell they're talking about. And if we give them accreditation and allow them to people who actually need professional help, we're going to be in a worse condition than we are right now.
That's not what I was saying at all. What I was saying is that there have to be people that can help others go through pain and operations and surgery and uplift them.
But we've got them. They're called medical doctors who have degrees, who spend years and years in school.
Okay. There needs to be something else. There needs to be an upliftment process, too, with the person. And I think there can be programs that can help them feel better, that can cheer them up, even if it's a beautiful scene of the woods or of the ocean, something to make the people that are just coming through.
But shouldn't that be left up to the trained psychologist to come up with, not a New Age practitioner?
You could call it a trained psychologist, sure.
Yeah.
It could be a trained psychologist. All I'm saying is that I think if that portion is added to healing, that we're going to do a lot better and be more balanced and heal quicker.
You know, you may be right. You and I have to say so long for tonight. Thanks very much for joining us, Elizabeth. Elizabeth Joyce has been our special guest. New-Visions.com. I'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as the X Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, on the Talkstar Radio Network and on the X Zone Broadcast Network. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the news.